Hi everyone, how are you? This is me, JP. Hope you are well. Okay, so what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about legends because I thought, oh, it's going to be Halloween nearly, so that'll be fun. Now, I have three stories of the legends of Durango. Durango, a lot of you don't know where it is. It's where my mother's from. It's in the north of Mexico. Anyway, so it dates back to the 1500s as a city. And there's tons and tons and tons of legends. I mean, I could do several videos of it. But the three most famous ones, three of the most famous ones. Number one, La Llorona. Number two, La Monja, the nun. And number three, the scorpions. Okay, so what's the legend? Legend number one, La Llorona. There was a lady, her name was Susana, and she was half Spanish, half First Nations. Her father was from Spain, her mother was from a First Nations group, an Indigena. And so anyway, she grows up, meets this guy from Spain, and at first everything's rosy. It's amazing. I mean, he's wow, and they're having all sorts of fun. Then they have three kids, and 3 kids later, he becomes a wife beater. And one day she loses it, completely loses it, and she takes her kids to the river and drowns them. And then she kind of reacts and goes, "Whoa, what did I do?" And she ever since then, they say that they can hear her calling for her kids, "Ay mis hijos," "Oh my children," and yeah. So that's legend number one. Legend number two, the one of La Monja, the nun. Uh, in the cathedral in Durango, which dates back to the 1500s, it's 500 years old, and and what happened? There was this one nun one time in the 19th century. She was the only son, a daughter of this family that they sent. Her name was Beatrice, and they sent her away to the cathedral, to the convent in there, and to be a nun, because that's what people did back then. Anyway, so one day the French troops came in, and she sees this one French guy, and she's like, "Ooh, hello." So what happens is, she couldn't. She's a nun, so she had to not do anything. But she liked him, and he liked her. So they start a little not relationship because they couldn't, but friendship. And so one day she said, "You know what? I really like this guy. That's it. I am going to go out with him, and I'm not going to be a nun anymore." Anyway, so she had this inner thing. One day he tells her, "Guess what? I am off to war because he is, in the army. He no option. But you can go up to the bell towers in the cathedral and look out, and you will see me." And she went up one day, 2 days, 3 days, nothing. Days turned to months, months apparently to years. And one day, she either fell or they pushed her, or I don't know. Nobody knows the story, but a point is, she died. And either if it was a suicide or murder, or she just tripped and fell, nobody knows. Okay, and but people say that they see her, and apparently people do say that they see her. Like they'll have tours of the cathedral because it dates back to the 1500s, and it's part of a World Heritage Site, and and people say, "Oh, in the tour there's this nun," and or like in weddings or whatever, special occasions, people go, "Oh look, a nun," and people go, "There wasn't a nun." Yes, there was. Well, okay, a lot of people have seen her. Okay, the third legend, the scorpion. The thing is, there was once this First Nations guy called Juan, and Juan worked for a tremendously wealthy family from Spain. And one day they had a falling out, like him and the family he worked for, and it happens, whatever. And they said, "Oh, off you go to the dungeon." Now, time out. Part of that dungeon is okay. It was part of in the 19th century it was the jail. Now it's a hotel. It's the most luxurious hotel in Durango. So now you have to go really dressed up. Because if you don't, people will look at you like, you're not dressed up. Okay, so the dungeon that's now in the hotel that was before the jail, everybody that went in would die, basically. And this guy, he was intelligent. He thought, I'm going to do something about it. So he got this fire. You weren't supposed to do that. You were supposed to not light any fire because people would notice. And so he figured out whatever. And he saw this huge scorpion. The huge scorpion does exist, and it's in a museum, and I have seen it. Now, the scorpion, and he realized scorpion is huge. I think in centimeters, it's 30 centimeters or so. It's enormous. I've seen it. And he uh, killed the scorpion, and he realized also this was what was killing everybody. Okay, and he went. He's a free man, never to be seen again. Nobody ever saw him again, and apparently he lived a long life and whatever. So those were the three ones: La Llorona, the nun, La Monja, and the scorpion. And I could go on and on and on and on because there's so many legends and they're very exciting. Um, but anyway, I need to get going. So I hope you guys had a good time listening to my video. And don't forget, I also paint. I also write books. You can buy my books online. You can buy my paintings online. And I hope you enjoyed your day. Thank you so much.